Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining me. My name is Nicolette Mathey, pharmacist and founder of Atrium24. Today we're going to talk about how your peers are making money. So let me go ahead and get started. Today we're going to talk about how you can see how your peers are making money. We're unlocking high margin pharmacy growth inside of the Atrium24 ecosystem. We wanted to put on this webinar because we talk about a lot of really cool hot topics. We do a lot of clinical trainings for new and innovative products, and we don't always get a chance to talk about how we incorporate these high margin strategies, these niches, these little things that can set apart your pharmacy and really make a big impact in your business. We don't focus on that whole ecosystem. So we wanted to take some time today to go through and show you the implementation ecosystem inside of Atrium24 and how our pharmacies are so successful in implementing these different areas, these different rollouts and features. So my name is Nicolette Mathey. I'm a pharmacist. I'm the founder of Atrium24. Hard to believe, next week, I think, I founded Atrium 6 years ago in 2019. And originally it was for sales and marketing, but it was very manual. And we always knew that we needed to build out technology that would show folks how to take your own data, how to take your own opportunities, how to benchmark them against other pharmacies, and how to really carve out your place for your independent pharmacy to serve your patients while also bringing in ethical profits. So I started Atrium 6 years ago. We officially launched our software tool, Dotti, just over a year ago. And I've been working in pharmacy for a long time. Outpatient pharmacies, meds to beds, scaling businesses. I had a large pharmacy that I sold. Now I own a small 503B fulfillment pharmacy. But Dotti is our pharmacy first CRM. And I'll talk to you about that and what that means and how that leverages all of your data points to be able to grow your business. And then last year, we also launched the Atrium24 GPO, which I'll tell you about today as well, because that gives you access to a lot of these niche products that patients are looking for, they're going online for, and that are very profitable and very in tune with patients' health and wellness that they're looking for today. So our third thing we focus on, we have Dotti, we have the Atrium24 GPO, and the third thing is the Atrium X conference. So I'll give you a little bit of information about that one that's coming up at the end of the presentation. So today, Dotti, the Atrium24 ecosystem, how it fits into your pharmacy workflow, because I know we're all busy and you might go in with the best intentions and then you have people calling out sick or people on vacation or audits or all sorts of things that we don't want to talk about on today's webinar. All to say though, I get it. And that's why we use data and AI to keep you as on track as possible with opportunities, both in your data set and in the global set that we observe. So we'll talk about real success stories of your peers and then tools that you can walk away with. So we all know the challenges. I don't have to harp on here, but there's definitely market pressures in our pharmacies. Dirty words that we don't want to talk about, right? But there's also just disconnected tools and strategies. We all have a pharmacy management system. We all have a point of sale. We likely have a VoIP phone system. We have a lot of different systems and things, but they're more for operational or workflow or behind the bench or vegetables, as I call them. You need them. They're important. You have to consume them. And I like to look more at the dessert. So what's exciting? What kind of softwares, strategies, tools can we plug in that actually make the day fun and that help us to focus on our joy and just different solutions that we can bring to our patients that they're excited about, that we're excited about too, because they're actually profitable for our business. Growing behind word of mouth is often a challenge for pharmacies. There's increased competition and changing consumer behavior. So online pharmacies are huge now. They total 30% of the market and it's only growing. Now, spoiler alert, Atrium software and our telemedicine partnerships inside the GPO enable your pharmacy to compete with those online Hims, Hers, Henry Meds, Ro, Moki. There's all kinds out there and they're only popping up even more. So by utilizing softwares like ours, the GPO, the telemedicine, and bringing those products into your pharmacy without building a sterile lab, that allows you to compete And it allows you to keep those patients, keep those prescriber relationships, and not have to refer them online. You know, I'm in a lot of these Facebook groups, social media groups, and I see a lot of pharmacies saying, oh, we're losing money on these specific drugs, so I just send the patients away or send them to their mail order. Well, if you tap into these GPO partnerships that we have, you could keep those patients and you could keep them profitably. And really, that's the best case scenario, not only for profits. And I always, when I think the word profit, it has an asterisk in my mind, because sometimes that can be a dirty word in healthcare. But in order for something to be profitable in our pharmacy, it first has to serve your patients. And you're definitely serving them because they're looking for these products anyway. They're going online, they're looking on Reddit, believe it or not. That's a rabbit hole you can go down and lose some time in looking at all these therapies on Reddit. But the patients are talking about them, they're looking for them. They want to get them from you. And really, that's the best patient care because you want to serve your patient and their families and all the medications that they take. You don't want to parse them out, say, go get this one from here and this from here. You want to be able to sustainably fill all their prescriptions in your own ecosystem at your pharmacy. So another challenge, level the playing field for community pharmacy with technology. So independents are a very large group. Collectively, we've always been larger than the big box the chains, and that doesn't show any sign of changing. Pharmacies, I know the pressures are increasing, the numbers may be going down, there is some stabilization going on, but the number of prescriptions is only increasing and the consumer behavior is changing. So now is the time where we have to adopt technology and we have to adopt an entire ecosystem to keep that patient and to keep them sustainably. So we built Dotti. It's a SaaS solution for pharmacy sales and profitability. And so SaaS is software as a service. So Dotti is a fully cloud-based software. You don't have to install anything on your computers. You can access it anywhere. And it's essentially pharmacy's first business development dashboard. So taking all your business in, it's not your operational piece like your PMS that helps you fill prescriptions. It looks at your business a little zoomed out and shows you what are you making money on, what are your opportunities, and how can you plug in and train your team and procure products and create marketing materials and track the sales and movement of those products in one tool. So pharmacy sales and profitability. Our pharmacies who use it, they log in every day, we can see multiple times a day. And it's a pretty sticky tool, meaning that they would have a hard time doing all these things without it. So how do we empower pharmacy growth? I know there's a lot of softwares out there. There's a lot of tools. I used a ton of them in my own pharmacies. I'm showing you the menus here on the left. So with the dashboard, we transform the raw business data into actionable trends and insights. How many times do you just want to be able to log in and see on a dashboard, you know, how many prescriptions did we fill yesterday, last 7 days, last 30 days, month to date, quarter to date, year to date, you know, kind of like you can drill down on your QuickBooks and see the different slices. How many vaccines did we do? How many compounds did we do? How much gross profit, cost of goods, all those things are on the dashboard. And I'll show you more of that in a bit. DataShare is cool because we aggregate all of the data, all the dispensing data that we pull in every night from our about 250 pharmacies across the network and growing. We pull them all in the DataShare and you can see it. You can drill down by your state, you can drill down by an NDC, a plan, you can save the filters, you can look at certain manufacturers, certain 503Bs. I've had a long time, 11 years actually, looking at pharmacy data at the CSV level and actually analyzing it. And I don't like to make any assumptions. I don't like to say, oh, this is covered in this pocket of the country on this bin in PCN. It'll be covered for you and you should switch patients. I don't like that. It doesn't work. It's not clinically sound. There's much more to a plan than a bin in a PCN, but it's still valuable to see the data. Some of my fellow spreadsheet nerds like me love to drill into DataShare. Others don't, and it's fine. Our clinical team is in there all the time and looking at the data. So DataShare is really cool and it's only growing. My data, that is your pharmacy's data. So that gives you specific actionable insights from your PMS data to optimize your operations. So I want to know, running a pharmacy, If my, if my top 4 prescriber by gross profit drops by 30%, I want to know immediately. I don't want to wait until my end of month statement or until my profit and loss statements are finalized for that month to say like, huh, we had a dip in profitability, but it sure seemed like we were busy. What happened? With Dotti, you can trigger and analyze that immediately because it's all on your dashboards. The Dotti CRM, this is kind of like if you give a mouse a cookie. So this is where we started. We knew we had to build a CRM. And a CRM is a customer relationship manager. Any sales rep out there uses a CRM. Any business that has a business development arm that has sales, that has marketing, they use a CRM. You might think of the big ones like Salesforce or HubSpot. Those are big, huge, expensive softwares. There has never been one for pharmacy. So we built the first one. It helps you with your prescriber relationships. And we have a patient CRM in the pipeline for us to build here in the near future. But our CRM is unique because it's built for pharmacies. We train pharmacies and teams inside of our Learn module what a CRM is, how to use it in your pharmacy, and how to look at your profits now and your book of business now, and how to grow it using the insights that you'll see in the CRM. But the best part is, and the strongest piece of the software is, we're connected to most pharmacy management systems, and we pull in your dispensing data every night. So every morning when you log into Dotti, you see what happened yesterday with all of your dispensing data. Now, when you're looking at, oh, this is my top 4 prescriber, I want to view their performance, you can see for that prescriber in your CRM, what's been happening, what are they prescribing, is it increasing, is it decreasing? I just looked at one today, and they were prescribing a lot of the GLPs. Now they're prescribing some testosterones and some hormone replacement therapies, and they're just starting to dispense some LDN. Well, the first thing I would do is go into learn about all the new peptide trainings that we've done, go into resources, download all of the custom branded in real time for you marketing resources for prescribers that are clinically sound, elegant, have your branding on them for all the peptides, and bring those to the doctor, have the conversation, log the note in your CRM, and then you can see each day on your dashboard and in your My Data, are they sending in prescriptions? Is this volume picking up? And so if you're an owner and you have a sales rep that does that, you don't have to, but some of our clients do, then that's a good way to hold them accountable and see. You can task it to them, you can see their CRM notes, you can see what's going on. So you can see it's an entire ecosystem that plays together. And without this central tool of Dotti, it would be very hard to manage. A lot of our pharmacies who didn't have Dotti, who were doing these things before, they were doing it in like Google Sheets or just like online free text modules, but nothing was connected back and forth with the PMS data. So the Learn module, we put out a new webinar. Our internal commitment is every 2 weeks. We put out a new webinar about a hot topic. So we have another one coming out in 2 weeks, and it'll be with one of our 503B partners, and they're talking about what's going on with GLPs, what's the legal landscape, what do they have in research and development, what's happening. There is some stuff shaking up on the 503B side for the weight loss GLP drugs that's interesting, that we are working hot and heavy on. So every 2 weeks we do a new webinar. Some of the clinical trainings are members only, and we always load them in the Learn module. On the alternating every 2 weeks, we do something called Dotti Day, which is for members only, and it's kind of like an office hours. So I'll tell you more about that. The resources I mentioned, auto-branded, ready-to-use marketing materials. There's hundreds in there. And then the GPO, I'll show you more about that too. We're always vetting, negotiating, adding new partners to our GPO. We just added Wedgwood Veterinary to the GPO, so there's a lot there. And what do I mean by a GPO? We all likely belong to GPOs, and ours is a little different. We don't compete with any of the GPOs that are out there. We don't do what they do. Ours is primarily on the 503B side. So the direct supply chain, in Dotti, you can identify and add new profitable products. So what we noticed out of necessity is, we have all these marketing resources. We have all these learn webinars for these different therapies. We have all the data analytics, but then we were seeing that our pharmacies are paying all over the board for all these different products from the places they're buying them from. And they're having to contact different sales reps and jump through the hoops and reply back and forth about how to sign up or how to place their first order, or how, they're buying it for this much, let's negotiate that price, and then what should they sell it for? So we cut through all of that and we built the GPO. We know that we have a lot of purchasing power with our 250 or so pharmacies in the GPO. So we set up already, we built the highway already. We vetted these places. We looked at their whole product catalog. We negotiated pricing discounts for our members. We created all the marketing materials specific for their products. And we also created retail pricing guides for you. So if it is a self-pay wellness product or a peptide or something, you could have a guideline as to what you should charge in your community, because we also analyzed, for your patients, what could they buy it online for if they were just to Google it or something like that. So for the GPO, you can sign up for Dotti. It's all self-service. You get immediate access to the entire tool. You can click on our GPO link, sign up to create an account with these different 503B companies. And then they know that you're an Atrium pharmacy, so you don't have to haggle on pricing. You can save up to 50% depending on the products. I mean, some of the veterinary products, the discount isn't huge. It's maybe 5-8%. But Wedgwood is so huge that none of our pharmacies were able to even get a call back from them. So when we banded together in the hundreds and went to them, now we were able to build the highway. So you can get discounted products, but you could also get priority treatment. You can register in a frictionless way, just using our link through Dotti, and get onboarded very quickly and painlessly. And then you just download the marketing resources from Dotti. Your branding is automatically loaded and you sell the products. So it's been an exciting evolution into how all this works together in the ecosystem. So for client case studies, we have a pharmacy here. In their 1-year increase, they were able to increase their prescriptions by 3 times and increase their profits by 6 times. So that's something that Dotti will help you do too, is be able to know off the top of your head, how many prescriptions do we fill? What's our gross profit percent? What is our growth percent rate? What is our goal? It's very hard to pull that information out of your PMS a lot of times, or out of your QuickBooks. So this pharmacy, in a case study that we have, they started March of 2023, small compounding pharmacy, just over 600 prescriptions a month, 40,000 GP. That can sustain a small pharmacy with a small staff. But then a year later, by implementing all the products, all the marketing materials, the CRM, using them with their reps, they were able to increase to 2,200 prescriptions a month and 241K in GP. And then I just checked in with them again this past January. We still work with them. And now they added a sterile lab in this pharmacy because they built out their product lines, their different 503B products. And now that they've added this in-house, they're buying a building, they're expanding their lab facilities. It's really incredible. So that's one case study. We have several. Valvista, I love working with Justin at Valvista over there. Within the first 3 months, they increased their sales by 33%. And he did that without any sales reps. He just did it with targeted prescriber outreach via phone, via fax, 503B partnerships, bringing in products. And he compounds as well, and he's grown his own in-house compounding business. So what I love about these different case studies that we have, and we have a lot more, they're all very unique and they're all diverse. So they do all different kinds of products, all different kinds of niches. Their demographics are very different. And then some of them compound, some of them bring it in from 503Bs, some of them do sterile, some of them don't, some have a combination. But really, when we're going around to these trade shows and when we're bopping around and seeing what we think's interesting and what we should bring back to our pharmacy, I like that. And I don't like any of us to make any decisions without data. So by saying, oh, I might want to pull this in, this will cost me X amount, you should still canvas with your prescribers and see what do they want you to bring in, and then look in the DataShare and see how much profit could that potentially bring in. and build out a business plan for it. So the sales strategy of pharmacies. We've talked with hundreds and hundreds of pharmacies over the years, and we built out different levels of the curve in the sales strategy. So a level 1 is a pharmacy in their business development arm that has no CRM. That's that customer relationship manager where you have all your targets, which would be your prescribers in this case, and you're logging the notes and visiting them, following up. So they have no CRM, they have no employee with sales responsibilities, no sales engagement with prescribers, and they rely on word of mouth. A lot of traditional pharmacies that I do talk to do fall in this level, and that's been okay in the past. They're legacy pharmacies. They've been there forever. They do a lot of long-term care and regular retail, and everybody in town knows them, and they've been able to sustain up to now. But now I believe is the inflection point where all the pressures are just really turning the screws on the pharmacies. And like I said, 30% of the market has already gone online, so we can't ignore it anymore. Now is the time where every pharmacy in the country has to pivot, and we have to start bringing in these other therapies that patients are looking for. So some still are at level 1, and they'll either have to evolve or they may not make it. So level 2, most pharmacies are at level 2, I will say. So they have the pharmacy employee, whether it's an owner, a tech. They do some occasional sales-based calls on hot items. Occasionally, they'll reach out to local prescribers, or they'll go do some doctor detailing or drop off some holiday baskets or things. They don't have any set routing, and routing is, and we have a sales and marketing 101 course in Dotti that's very robust, that teaches you how pharma reps set their targets, set their routing, set their frequency. I'm going to visit this prescriber on my tier 1 A list every week. I'm going to visit the tier 2 every other week. And then, so they don't have that. They don't have a set routing. They don't have a CRM. Minimal use of industry and pharmacy data to identify opportunities and to price products. I see a lot of pretty intricate questions being flown around on the Facebook groups. So I would say that's in a level 2. That's the data analytics there. They use unbranded generic marketing materials. Now, level 3, they do have a pharmacy employee, maybe the owner, maybe it's a tech, maybe it's a rep who consistently does sales outreach to prescribers each week. So I've seen some of them, for 2 hours on Wednesdays, they go out. Maybe they previously had dedicated sales reps. I run into that a lot where, hey, Nicolette, I had a sales rep. I didn't know where they were or what they were doing. They said they had all these active relationships. I didn't know. I was paying them for 3 months. I got tired of it. I let them go. I didn't know how to hold them accountable or see what they were doing. We help solve for all of that. We have the position agreements. We have, and actually they sign, and especially in section 5 is where you CYA, so that you know what they're doing. They're not out there paying doctors or doing anything crazy illegal. So we get questions all the time. How can I compensate my sales rep? How do I train them? We have all that ironed out for you. But maybe in level 3, they previously had a sales rep. They might be using like a Google Sheet to log notes or things with doctors. Every pharmacy I've ever been in has Post-it notes. So they might have like the Post-its about, hey, go visit this doctor, or hey, I just entered this doc into the system. Somebody needs to give them a call, tell them about our compounds, things like that. They might outsource some branded marketing materials, and they'll use some baseline industry data to identify new opportunities. Now, level 4, and a good number of our pharmacies have increased to level 4, so much so from when they first started using Dotti, and we're in a level 1, 2, borderline 3. We have so many that are now in a level 4 that we're adding a level 5, because you always have to have a challenge. You always have to have a growth goal, right? We're never done. But level 4, you have dedicated sales rep or reps. They have firm routing with frequency built in. Everybody knows where the reps are going and what they're doing and who they're going to be talking to and when. It's all documented. The whole team can see it. They leverage data analytics to have targeted outreach and conversations. They have branded, customized marketing materials, and they have long-term strategic growth plans. So all of our businesses, no matter what type of business we have, needs a sales strategy, And we need to know, what does growth look like? What does success look like? So that's the sales curve. Now, I get this question a lot. Why is prescriber marketing better than patient marketing? And I mean, this may be subjective, but when you look at it, and you definitely need to do both. You need to do B2B, which is business to business, which is your prescriber marketing, and you need to do B2C, which is business to consumer, which is patient marketing. Now, with direct to patient, you have low control, and you're marketing to the patient. You're saying, hey, you should try this methylene blue. You should try this NAD plus for brain fog, whatever it is. And we have bag stuffers, we have patient information sheets, in-store marketing. And the patient might say, oh, that's great. But then you need a prescriber to write the prescription. We help you with that too. We have telemedicine all linked up that you can put your own custom URL on your website and help those patients who come to you and say, oh, I don't know, my doctor doesn't know anything about this therapy. Or, some of them have like these health system doctors that are owned by the hospitals, and maybe they're not allowed to write for drugs that aren't on their P&T formulary. So those are good instances to plug them into your telemed. But when you market to prescribers, now you're marketing to the referral source. And now you're partnering with them to say, methylene blue, this is what we frequently compound. This is what we have. Are you currently writing for any compounds? Do you send them anywhere? Chances are your prescribers are sending compounded prescriptions or 503B therapy prescriptions somewhere else, maybe to a pharmacy in another state. But not you. There's a lot of leakage there that you're not obtaining. And just by you or your tech or your rep going out regularly and having those conversations and documenting it in your CRM, you can uncover more opportunity in your own backyard that you could sustainably fill those prescriptions in your community. So I love prescriber marketing. It was always just so hard in the past, right? Because we didn't have a system. We didn't have marketing materials. We didn't have data. We didn't have tracking. We didn't have product procurement. Well, we have all that now. So the growth engine, the Atrium24 ecosystem, it's awesome. And I'm not a pessimist, but I'll say I'm a realist. And what we've built and what we have that the community of our pharmacies contribute to and use is awesome right now. And that's hard for me to say as a realist, but it is really incredible. And looking at our product roadmap and looking at the CRM enhancements that we're working on and the AI incorporation with the data, and the additional GPO partnerships that we're actively adding are just truly going to make our pharmacies so much more efficient and sustainable and profitable. So today, the ecosystem, it's amazing. We start with data. So access real world insights from 250 plus pharmacies to identify high margin drugs and profitable prescribing trends. So it all starts with the data from your pharmacy and from your peers. It removes the guesswork on what are the profitable therapies that make sense for you to invest in growing. How many times do we just go out there and blindly market and prescriptions come in and we're like, I don't make any money on these. So that's not what we want to do. Now, second is the CRM. You can track your prescriber interactions, manage your outreach, and organize your follow-ups. The follow-ups are key. And how many of us feel completely overwhelmed already, as is? I know back to school just started. That has me very freaked out with everything that's up in the air. Fall ball and sports and all that are about to start. And now we have to manage all these follow-ups and everything else that's happening in my pharmacy. So our CRM is all pharmacy specific and fully integrated. So the CRM that we have, our Dotti CRM, it's a proven sales system. So it has process and it has technology to ensure repeatable, measurable growth when you're marketing these profitable products. So that's second. Third, branded marketing. I know first started and before I built Dotti, I had my pharmacy, I had a sales rep. My rep was going out calling on doctors, and then she would come back and say, okay, they want to prescribe LDN. Can you make them an order form? Or can you make the changes to this order form? Or, I find myself, they keep asking this question, can you put that on the sheet? It would sit on my desk to die because I had the best intentions, but I was busy and it wasn't a top priority. My top priorities were cash flow, payroll, scheduling, everything else to do in the pharmacy. So with Dotti, don't worry about it. We have branded marketing. So our Plus memberships have over 300 plug and play, clinically sound materials, auto-customized with your pharmacy's logo and info. And I can't say how huge that is. I'm a pharmacist, and I'm a busy girl. So we have a full-time clinical pharmacist, Annie, on staff here, and her entire job is look at the data, write out the clinical content, research the opportunities for our pharmacies, poke holes in things, vet it, put it in the ecosystem. So this isn't rocket science. You can certainly do it. You just don't have the time. And so we've carved out here in the Atrium ecosystem the time that our pharmacies support, that we can build all these things for you. So we have over 300 branded marketing materials. We put out about a dozen new ones a month. And there's different ways that you can interact with us on the marketing side. So our marketing assets, they ensure that your team is walking into the doctor's office with a professional, branded, clinical marketing asset. So that sets you completely apart from the competition. And remember, you're competing with these online conglomerates. They have a top tier brand. They have that really good marketing pieces. Of course, it's clinically sound. They're all over the internet. But remember, you're going after prescribers and you're going after your own community. So you have a unique advantage there. Now with the marketing, I'll show you too. In our pro membership, we create completely customized marketing materials for our pro members. We also just started offering a la carte, completely customized marketing materials. So if you need a brochure that's specific to your pharmacy, or if you need a handout about a specific compound or order form, we can create that for you on an a la carte basis. But if you're a basic member, so we have basic, plus, and pro in Dotti, which I'll show you. If you're a basic member, you have instant access to over 100 marketing assets that you can download, and Dotti automatically adds your logo and branding to those pieces. Plus membership, you have access to over 300. Pro membership, you have all that, plus you have complete customization. So the marketing resources is definitely one of our most used and clicked menu items, is the resources on the branded marketing. Now the GPO is just really the cherry on top. It really simplifies things for you. You gain access to discounted pricing on in-demand 503B products. So of course GLPs, and that market is ever changing. All different injectables, so you don't have to have a sterile pharmacy. You can still provide injectables and eye drops to your patients. And there's a lot more through our vetted partners. And to deepen your profit, we've negotiated discounts for profitable products that you may want to grow in your community. So our members have had great success with that. And we're open too. So if you're like, hey, hey, Atrium, I need this marketing resource that you guys don't have. I need a piece about this, or I need, this keeps coming up, or this new product, I keep hearing about it. My patients, my prescribers keep asking. We invite you to put that in the hopper and let us know. We have a button inside Dotti to contact us, and we love all the questions and all the suggestions that we get. GPO as well. All of our partners, they're always creating new products, and they're always in research and development. So they always ask us, like, what are your customers looking for? We will make it. So I love the community that we've built so far with Atrium24 and the ecosystem, and it's just incredible at how it's growing. So unlock high margin product access. I love this. This is the dessert that I told you about. So what's hot and profitable? What is buzz? What is kind of we hearing about? But I'm just so analytical that I love to see the data. So let's look at real margins. Let's look at how Atrium helps our members tap in first. I'm pretty risk averse, especially since I represent hundreds of pharmacies across the country. So, if something comes across my desk and it's not above board, I'm going to tell you it's not above board. So I'm certainly not going to be the first person to jump in on any opportunity. That being said, when you own a business, if you wait until you have all the information and until you're 100% certain that this is something you want to do, you will have had lost opportunity cost. You will have waited too long in your business. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, if you jump in right away, if you don't ask any questions, if you're not sure, if you're flying by the seat of your pants and you're like, I heard this is making money, let's do it, and you jump in, very risky. Do not recommend. And especially in healthcare, none of us operate that way. Obviously, the majority of us likely operate on the other end of the spectrum and are perhaps too risk averse. Now, I don't fault you for that at all, because we work in healthcare and it's one of the most heavily regulated industries. that you could possibly work in. Sometimes I'm like, why didn't I become a hairdresser like my mom or open a pet shop like I wanted to when I was a kid? But we're all here because we love taking care of our patients, and we love to provide some clarity in the complex for patients, for prescribers, for our community, for ourselves. So we help our members tap in first, not in a risky way, but in a very thorough way, looking at the data, looking at the regulations, talking with our legal team, reading FDA inspections, and just thoroughly vetting out opportunities. So high margin product access. These are our current partners: Olympia, PQ, Eagle, Wedgwood. We have a couple telemedicine partners in our GPO. We have a pharmacy healthcare attorney in our GPO. And we have more coming soon. I can't even tell you how many meetings we've had this week. We have a lot more 503B partners coming in the GPO as well. Not just, I mean, I know everybody's all hot about GLPs, but there's so much more to it. There's topical products, capsules, all other sorts of injectables. So there's a lot more coming into the GPO. And of course, our pharmacies get savings on the products because we've all banded together and we have a much higher purchasing volume than if you were to go at it alone. So the real world opportunities in the DataShare, just an example, we saw the tirzepatide and the glycine with a $340 gross profit. So in DataShare, you can look up the compound names that everybody's dispensing. You can see how many scripts were filled. You can see the gross profit. So we saw a pharmacy in the data set mix tirzepatide with glycine, cost them $35 an ingredient, and generated $340 gross profit. So some people just like to see what they should be paying or how they should price it, and that can all be done in DataShare. It's real live data, which is cool. I don't manipulate it at all. I don't know who it comes from. It's all de-identified on purpose. So obviously you can't see who filled it, and neither can we. You can't see the NPI number. You can just drill down to the state. But it helps you just to validate the market claims. You can search by NDC. So what I like to do, each 503B has their own NDC number. And so I like to take the first 5 digits of that manufacturer of that 503B and search it in the DataShare and just see in our network what products of this 503B are being dispensed and what are the dollar metrics around that. So you can see all kinds of claim level data, which is super cool. Marketing materials that I talked about. So we have container fields in the PDF files. So in Dotti, you load your logo and your address, and any marketing piece that you download that's brandable in Dotti, in real time, it puts your logo and it puts your contact information on the sheet, which is amazing. So we have plug and play marketing for over 30 specialties. And I mentioned we have the a la carte marketing materials. That's been huge for our pharmacies. It's been a long requested feature. And we finally built out the infrastructure where we could handle that for you guys. So real world example, we had a pharmacy client share with us that one of their reps printed out a broad compound list from a large API company that you all know, and they gave it out to all their providers. They're like, here's some idea sheets, here's all the things we could compound, circle what you want us to make or whatever it is. And so now all the prescribers wanted all these different SKUs and all these different formulations that weren't really clinically different from each other, but it put a huge burden on the pharmacy to have to create all those formulations and spend over $30,000 in unmanageable API commitments. You know, we're buying all these different APIs just to use a little scoop and a little scrape of each one. So this highlighted the need for focused, relevant options for doctors that are profitable and realistic for pharmacies. So that's why our marketing materials are tailored to keep conversations with your provider strategic and aligned with what actually drives margin. Tom asked a question, would Dotti CRM work for tracking vaccine analytics? Yes, and that's a good question, Tom. Yes, I always in my pharmacy wanted to come in every day and see how many vaccines we filled and have a little dashboard and a little thermometer chart for, you know, rewards and things for the team, because it's a grind to push vaccines because we're all so busy. The vaccines have NDC numbers. So if you're in the Plus or Pro membership, you have access to the My Data. And you can save filters with whatever NDC numbers you want. And so that when you build it that one time and save it, that gives you the dashboard. So you might want to put in all the vaccines that you have. You might want to just see flu. You might want to just see pneumonia. And you'll see that in real time. The prescribers, you'll see the reimbursement data. So yeah, since it's a drug, you can absolutely see it. So the pharmacy specific CRM that actually works. So this is a little snippet. We're in the Dotti CRM. Dotti automatically pulls in all your prescribers and puts them in your CRM. So that's one of the biggest pains. Let's say if you download Zoho or one of the Monday.com kind of, even though that's a spreadsheet. But let's say you download one of the cheaper CRM softwares out there. They're not tailored towards pharmacy. They don't have any of the other things that goes with the pharmacy. And you have to load in. You know, it's kind of like you get a brand new phone, you have to load all your contacts. Well, with Dotti, none of us have time for that. And most pharmacies don't really know how to do that because we don't, you know, that's not our expertise is CRMs and sales systems. So Dotti interfaces with your pharmacy management system and pulls in all your prescribers and automatically puts them in your CRM. And then once you're in there, you click this view performance button and it'll show you that prescriber's performance and what prescriptions and what profitability and what trends and things. So our software is the only one that merges the CRM with the dispensing data. So if you have reps out in the field, it's super important for them to know, you know, I'm going and calling on Dr. Brown. I can see my notes from when I've called on her in the past, but what's going on? What is she writing? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? What is she writing for? Because that would tailor my messaging for her, if that makes sense. So it's really beautiful how all this is tied together. And Tom asked if we integrate with Pioneer RX. Yes. Pioneer is one of our best integration partners. If our pharmacy signs up for Dotti today, there's a pop-up that's the data release form. And so you'll sign the data release form. It automatically goes to our team at Pioneer, and they turn on the data in our FTP secure. They turn it on usually same day because they're awesome and we work so well with them. So every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, Dotti pulls the data from all the PMS feeds that we have. And so it populates. So short answer, yes, we work with Pioneer and most of the other PMSs, and your data will be pulled in auto-magically very quickly. So that's exciting. Just gives you faster action, higher ROI than generic CRMs. So Salesforce, HubSpot, I've used them. They're not for pharmacy and they're very expensive. So for some of the organizations we work with that have like 30 sales reps, for some of them, they use these bigger softwares and these things, and it's very expensive and very cumbersome. Most of us don't need that level. Real-time insights for smarter decisions. So this is just a little snapshot of the dashboard that I told you about. You get your live gross profit. You get your top prescriptions by gross profit, by script count. You get your top prescribers. We also track here the CVS Caremark aberrant list percent. Most of our pharmacies are at 0%, but it just really irritated me. I want to say it was 2018 when CVS Caremark came out right at Thanksgiving, and they said, if you dispense more than 25% of your prescriptions or profits under these like 30 or so Caremark bins for these 1,000 or so NDCs, we're going to terminate your contract. And I was like, what are you talking about? How are we going to build that in? So I built reports in my Pioneer system and but the problem was they fax out, and sometimes they don't, a monthly update to that list every month. Not the full list, just the update. So just because it irritated me, I think, I built a tool that continually adds on the new NDCs and pins it against the bin numbers. And so with 2 clicks of a button in Dotti, you can see daily, am I dispensing any NDCs that are on the CVS Caremark aberrant list? And it's updated every month on our back end. And what percent of my profits is that top line to CVS Caremark? I've seen some pharmacies pushing the limit on that, and I've seen some pharmacies get contracts terminated. And so anyhow, just one of the little Easter eggs inside Dotti that we're looking out for you. We don't want you to get your contract terminated for things like that. Also, if you see like this Dr. Houghton in your dashboard and you log in the morning, you're like, huh, Dr. Houghton's my number 4 top profit prescriber. That's interesting. They should be number 1. Or that's interesting. They weren't in my top 10 last week. You can click on them in Dotti. It'll take you to the CRM for Dr. Houghton. You can see, I don't have any notes there from my rep, or me or my tech haven't been there in 3 months. What's going on? What made them shoot up? So then you click on view performance, right? And it takes you into my data and it'll show you, oh, this is what's happening for Dr. Houghton. They started prescribing some Orlin into our pharmacy. How did they learn about us? What's going on? Did they know that we also have glutathione and liraglutide? And so it guides you into how you should be having these conversations. So I just love it because the dashboard, to me, everything's clickable and it's intuitive. Like, what the heck is going on in my business? What do I need to focus on? I don't want to wait until my bank account dips or my profit and loss statements come out. I want to know now what's driving the revenue in my business. On-demand clinical and operational support. So our Learn module is very highly frequented as well. So we have our Sales and Marketing 101 intro course. We started it originally as a 6-week boot camp, but we have it loaded into Dotti now. It'll help you with hiring a rep. It'll help you with routing, team training, everything you need really to answer all the questions you've ever had about having a sales rep. You don't need one. I don't want folks to get overwhelmed and think, I won't be successful. I won't have a business development arm. I won't have a sales system unless I have a sales rep. That's not true. You don't need one. Depends on your market, depends on you. Some of you love to get out there and talk to prescribers and, work on business development. Some of you don't. Some of you would rather be in DataShare, checking out the spreadsheet. And I totally get it. Usually that's our pharmacist mentality. We want to be in DataShare. But you know your business, you know your bandwidth. We also teach you in Sales and Marketing 101 how to get started yourself and how to set up your infrastructure. Because too many times pharmacy owners have gone and hired a sales rep, and then their sales rep has kind of struggled because they need to know they're a new employee. What does success mean for me? What are my training tools? What are my CRM? What are my data tools? What's the KPIs that you're looking at to see if I'm successful? Pharmacy owners have hired reps without having those things in place. So it's not going to be successful, right? And you're going to be frustrated because how do you know if you're earning a return on your investment or not? So we've seen that happen a lot of times. What I encourage pharmacy owners to do is get Dotti on board, understand what's going on in your business, start building out your sales system, start realizing some early wins, start building out the role for a sales rep, and understand exactly where you're going to put them when they come in. One of our pharmacies that we work closely with at Flatiron's Pharmacy in Colorado, she has a sales rep, still has him. He's wonderful. He's a pharmacist, so he does clinical consults, and then he also goes out in the field. But just as an owner, it was hard for her to know, what's Rodney doing, or when should he be out in the field, and when should he be in the pharmacy, and what are the metrics looking like, and how do we grow? It's hard to balance all that without data. So now that she's working in Dotti, she's significantly increased her gross profits, and she was able to hire another rep, and she has visibility on what's going on in her sales system. And now she's in the market to hire another rep. So she'll have 3 reps, and they all work in Dotti every day. It's all managed throughout Dotti. Someone asked, is Dotti a good idea for a new pharmacy without a lot of data to go on? Yes, that's a great question. I believe so. I'll tell you why. I wished that I had Dotti when I first bought my pharmacy in 2017. It's a great idea to get Dotti, start learning in the Learn modules about all these therapies that are just hot topics for patients. Start getting your GPO discounted catalog access, start understanding the products, look through DataShare, see what's potentially profitable, start downloading marketing resources, learn about the sales system we just talked about. And in our basic membership tier, you don't get access to all the bells and whistles in Dotti. You don't get the data analytics and dashboard in basic. You don't get the My Data granular, but you do get the CRM. You do get DataShare, and you do get about 1/3 of the marketing resources and some of the GPO discounts. So yes, I absolutely think that Dotti Basic is a great idea. for new pharmacies. So we've talked about this. This is the roadmap, right? CRM, marketing, prescriptions, data, products, profit. And if we don't have a system to manage all that, it's very overwhelming. I'm a very linear person, so I like to see it like this, and I like to have data to guide. So these are, you asked if there's a contract. The way it works, it's a typical software agreement. So we are a software company. Dotti is a software. So we have Basic, Plus, and Pro. It's an annual contract. If you choose to cancel at any time in the year, you'll be responsible for 60% of the remainder. So of the remainder of your contract. And that's a typical software contract, how that works. But let's say that you started in Plus and fell on some hard times. Things aren't really working in your market, whatever's going on. You could downgrade into Basic during your membership and start a new agreement. Let's say you start in Basic, a new pharmacy, and things start going really well. You start picking up. You can upgrade into Plus. Some of our pharmacies start in Pro for a few months and get that, in Pro, and let me explain the difference to you. In Basic, like I said, you have the task board. I didn't show you the task board, but you might notice something in your data and want to task it to your rep or task it to your tech or yourself. So you have the task board in Basic, you have the DataShare, which is everybody's data, right? You have the doctor detailing CRM, so all your doctors go in your CRM. You have the webinar recordings and the e-courses in Learn. You have the general branded marketing content, and you get GLP branded marketing materials because that's the lowest hanging fruit for everyone. Now in Plus, that's when you unlock everything in Dotti. So you get all of Basic, of course, but then you get all the clinical marketing materials. So there's 200 or more of those. You get the full sales dashboard. So all those widgets and metrics that we saw on the dashboard, all that CVS aberrant dispensing and gross margin meter, everything in my data. So yours granularly to see your prescriber performance, or Tom to see like your vaccine performance, all that's in my data. And you get all the sales rep resources. So I have spreadsheets about how to compensate a sales rep. What does it look like for them and you if they bring in 5K a month in GP? What about 7.5K in GP? Where's the break even for you? How much should you anticipate to pay for their insurance, their car, their lunches, their print materials? We have all that in sales rep resources, position agreements, job posts, training, all that's in Plus. Pro, this is where people are involved. So when I first started Atrium24 6 years ago, all we had was Pro, and it was one-on-one consulting. It was custom marketing materials. It was working with each pharmacy to build out their sales system. That's what we do in Pro. So we help build your sales system. We create a brand kit for you. We create custom collateral, and you can book calls with our team, whether you want to have us talk to your reps or talk to you about strategy or products or whatever you're going to bring in. The GPO access is in all tiers. It's just most of our partners, Basic has one discount set, and then Plus and Pro have a deeper discount on the products. Tom asked, what if you do advertising outside of doctor referrals? So radio, billboards, etc. Would you be able to plug these into Dotti to track sales? That's a good question. So if you have other like direct-to-consumer marketing methods, would you be able to plug it in? We are actively in conversations with some of our top users in Dotti about what CRM enhancements do they want. Because where I live is, and we have developers on staff, if I can pull data sets and pull a data point and plug it in and visualize it, I can do it. I just need to know what exact data points need to be pulled from where so that we can just attach that road to our ecosystem, if that makes sense. So we're in talks right now with making the CRM more robust, adding more automations, connecting more roads in there. So we'd be happy to talk with you about just what do you use, what do you find success with, and where does the data live so that we could plug it in. Now, we do have a special offer act now for all attendees. Fill out our contact form. That way you can get access to a special discount. You'll get access to a discount on your Dotti membership. And if you'd like to just kind of poke around and play in the sandbox, we can give you access to a free 14-day trial. We can hook your data in during that trial too. So if you do a free trial in the Plus membership, it'll load all your doctors, it'll load all your data. You can click all around to your heart's content and see exactly what it looks like in your pharmacy. So fill out our contact page. Our account executive, Sam, will reach out to you. Sam's wonderful. He's based in Texas, great guy. He's worked in pharmacy software for a really long time, very knowledgeable. And then my baby, Atrium X. I know some of you were there in 2025. It was our first year. We held it in February. But please come. Tickets are on sale right now. My goal is to sell out in Q4. I don't want to go through the new year and try to be getting more vendors or getting more attendees. I only want to focus on content, and I only want to focus on making the show the best that it can be. It was so amazing last year. It was fun, and I'm not like a fun person. Like I said, I'm very analytical, so I had a great time at the show. Because it wasn't me on the stage talking the whole time like I have been to you for this past hour or so. It was peer-led. So everybody comes to Atrium X. We bring in innovators, thinkers, awesome people. We have just an open ice-breaking exercise, where everybody gets to see who's who in the room. What do you do? Where are you from? And then everybody votes. What do you want the breakout topics to be about? What's on the top of your mind right now? And everybody votes on different topics they want. And then everybody that night, which again, this was crazy for me to not have a set schedule, but that night, after everybody votes, we say, okay, tomorrow, here's all the breakout sessions. We're going to have it on telemedicine. We're going to have it on 503Bs. We're going to have it on the long-term care, medical at home billing. We're going to have it on whatever. So we had all these topics. Sales reps was one of them. So this year, I'm sure the topics will be different, and it'll be led by everybody who's in the room. So my goal is to have 100 attendees. It's in March in Orlando at the Rosen Plaza. So pretty close to the airport, pretty close to the convention center. There's a new Universal theme park, Epic, right kind of next to the Rosen Plaza. So come down, bring the family. But Atrium X is going to be awesome. And it's something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. And I'm so thankful that everybody jumped on this crazy idea of a completely peer-led conference. It's just different than anything else that I've ever been to. So Atrium X, get your ticket. And any questions, we're here to help. Thank you guys so much for your time and attention and listening to the ecosystem. If I triggered any thoughts or ideas, let us know. We're always building. We're always vetting, looking, having conversations. We have a couple really awesome things in the pipeline that I can't wait to share with you, but I'll wait. But fill out our contact page. We would love to work more closely with you guys and love to have you in the Atrium24 ecosystem. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.